The Dodgers just played 500 ball against the worst team in baseball. That's not the standard. But forget Colorado because now comes the real test as they head to San Diego for a heavyweight fight against the Padres with the division lead on the line.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Dodgers' results keep swinging like a pendulum, but they avoided disaster in Colorado by beating the Rockies to split the series. The good news, reinforcements are on the way from the injured list, and Shohei Ohtani is ready to roll as LA heads into a showdown in San Diego starting tonight. I'm talking all about it in today's episode, which is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. I'm Harry Ruiz, Spanish radio play-by-play broadcaster for the Las Vegas Raiders and the USC Football Trojans. A native Angelino with nearly 2 decades of experience working in sports media, and I bleed Dodger Blue for life. I'm having a blast jumping on the mic every weekday to dive deep into what I love most, which is talking Dodger baseball with you. And I want you to be a part of our show. Hit us up on the brand new Locked On Dodgers listener line, 279-3-LOCKED or 279-356-2533. You can either leave us a voicemail or a text, and you might be featured in our show. The Dodgers just wrapped up their 4-game set in Colorado with a 9-5 win on Thursday, which means that they leave Denver with the split. And sure, technically that's better than losing the series, but let's be real. This is the worst team in baseball that they just faced, and the Dodgers played down to their competition way too much this week, and unfortunately, that's becoming a habit now for the Dodgers. They went and played real good in LA against the Blue Jays, then they get swept by the Angels. They go back home and sweep the Padres, and then they go and lose 2 games against the worst team in baseball. And it felt like 2 completely different teams showed up at Coors Field. The bats, completely missing. They were MIA on Monday and Wednesday. The pitching, it was pretty solid in 3 out of the 4 games. But, of course, the one night that the Dodgers weren't competitive, that they were a no-show, it was when Shohei Ohtani was on the mound. And even Shohei was off. And that's the kind of series that leaves you shaking your head because October teams, they're supposed to handle their business against those in last place. Teams that know that they're going to be competing in October, like the Dodgers, who haven't missed the playoffs in over a decade, they shouldn't be sweating against bad teams. These are the type of opponents that you build your lead in the division against, that you pad it against them, that you keep growing against them, and then you go against the good teams and be like, okay, if we win 2 out of 3 against them, we're in a good place. That's where they were against the Blue Jays. Remember when they went against the Blue Jays? They weren't in a good spot, the Dodgers. They went against the Blue Jays. They won the first 2, and they found themselves in a position where they could have swept, but they choked in the 8th and the 9th inning against Toronto, and they took 2 out of 3. Before the series, if you had told the Dodger fan win 2 out of 3, we would take it. But we got greedy because the Dodgers were in a good spot to potentially sweep. They lost that game, okay. But then go and lose 3 against the Angels, that was terrible. The Angels, when October rolls around, that's when they're in Disneyland, not at Dodger Stadium. That's Disneyland for us. We love going over there, spending pretty much the same amount of money that you would be spending in a getaway at Disneyland with your family, but that's another story. But you can't be struggling against bad teams the way that the Dodgers are right now. Now, Thursday was a different story, and I'll admit, when I saw the lineup, I was concerned. With Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez getting the day off, Dave Roberts rolled out with this lineup. Betts, Freeman, Will Smith at the top. Everybody's okay with that. But then Michael Conforto batting cleanup? What the? Insert beep sound here. Then you had Freeland, Dalton rushing, Andy Pages, Alex Call, Miguel Rojas completing the lineup. That's not a powerhouse on paper. The top three, you're good with. But then after that, I mean, just having Conforto in the cleanup spot, I know that you like to go back and forth and trying to figure out the way to face a starting pitcher, but in no franchise right now in baseball, Michael Conforto should be batting cleanup. Not even with the OKC Comets, if he were to be sent down there. But to their credit, the Dodgers delivered. They scored in each of the first 5 innings. Freddie Freeman, he set the tone with a 2-run bomb in the first. Andy Pages hit his first road home run since late April. 7 Dodgers got hits, led by Alex Freeland. Great game by him. He had 3. Mookie Betts, he reached base 4 times. Alex called 3. Pages 3. The only 2 guys who didn't reach base, rookie catcher Dalton Rushing, who he plays, once, twice a week, usually. And then, drum roll, please, even though you don't need one to guess because you know who it is, Michael Conforto. Another offer from the left fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who, I mean, we're in the final week coming up of the month of August, and I have no clue how Michael Conforto is still on this team. Pitching-wise, Clayton Edward Kershaw. King Kersh, exactly what the Dodgers needed. He went 5 2/3, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and came 1 out away from what should have been his 4th straight quality start in August. His 7th of the season is what it would have been. I can't speak good enough things about Clayton Kershaw. He's my favorite baseball player. I always say, I lived in Mexico for 12 years. When I moved back to the States, I started going to Dodger games. I became a season ticket holder, and that was very early in Kershaw's career. He's my favorite Dodger pitcher, my favorite Dodger hitter, Matt Kemp, from those stages right before Guggenheim bought the team. And Kershaw, man, it's crazy to think that it's almost 2 decades after he debuted, and he's looking better than ever. At first, we thought he was only going to be, okay, we got Glasnow, Snell, Roki Sasaki hurt, so we're going to get Kershaw to start one game. Hopefully he's okay. The guy has been delivering, 2 losses that have been credited for him, 8 wins, but just stacking up great starts. And it doesn't matter if it's against the Padres last week on Friday or against the Rockies this week on Thursday. He is as solid as they come. And he wasn't there at the beginning of the season. That's why his stats don't qualify him to be up there ranked in the ERA, but his ERA is almost 3. A 3 ERA for a guy that's almost 2 decades into his career, pitching the way that he's pitching. I mean, he's not our ace anymore, but he was our ace for over a decade. Now we don't have to ride him, and we're going to do or die depending on how Kershaw's up there. Maybe that's it. He doesn't have the pressure of being the guy for the Dodgers. He is a guy right now that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer that's got an MVP and 3 Cy Youngs in his trophy case besides 2 World Series championships. I just think that the motivation for him to be as good as he is that he wants to be somebody that's a contributor in a full season World Series championship for the Dodgers. He was there with the team last year in the playoffs, but he wasn't pitching. He was there for the team in 2020 and he did a good job, but everybody's always going to say it was a shortened season. And he wants to be out there for what is a full playoff experience. Instead of going, the first round was at Dodger Stadium in 2020, and then the rest for LA was over at Globe Life Field over in Arlington. He wants to be able to go against the elements and going against other fans in the stands that don't want him to succeed. I feel that's part of his motivation right there. But Kershaw, my man, that's why you're my favorite Dodger of all time, in the time that I've been alive. I mean, I was born in 88. The Dodgers won the World Series a month after I was born. And then I had to wait all the way to 2020 to be able to celebrate a World Series. Well, Kershaw, already mentioned it. Fantastic, especially in Coors Field. If you tell me your starter is going to allow 3 runs pitching into the 6th inning, any manager is going to say yes. And Kershaw, that's what he did. As for the bullpen, Roberts probably hoped to get away with just Ben Kasparius for a third of an inning and Matt Sauer for a 3-inning save. But Sauer got up to 44 pitches, allowed 2 runs, and with the score 9-5 heading into the bottom of the ninth, Alex Vesia had to come in and throw 25 pitches to finish this game off in the ninth inning, which means Alex Vesia, he's not available tonight against San Diego, and we played 2 really close games against the Padres last weekend. Let's see how it goes tonight. Hopefully, we're not saying, damn it, I wish Vesia was available for this spot right now. But I do have some good news for you, though. The bullpen and the lineup could be getting a major boost very soon as today. I'll tell you who's on the comeback trail next on Locked On Dodgers. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. My first time playing golf, I hit a birdie on the second hole without even knowing how to play. Then it went downhill from there, but man, a total fluke is one of my favorite memories playing the sport. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can follow me at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Also, check out my co-host Travis at Travis Rogers on X and Instagram as well. He'll be back with me on September 2nd. All right, let's pivot to some good news because the Dodgers could really use it right now. Down in AAA Oklahoma City, a couple of rehabbing arms are trending the right way, which means reinforcements are on the way. Tuesday in Tacoma, Tanner Scott pitched an inning, no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, took care of business in 16 pitches. The fastball went up to 96 and 98. The spin rate looked good, and he's actually joining the active roster tonight. So no Alex Vesia, but yes, Tanner Scott. That same day, Tuesday, Kirby Yates threw a scoreless inning, no hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 21 pitches total. He's lined up to be back Saturday for the second game of the series in San Diego. Now, look, I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan of either of these guys because I feel like I've seen more heartbreak with them on the mound than excitement. And to be fair, with Scott, he's pitched in 47 games, and in nearly 3/4 of them, he hasn't given up a run. But the 7 blown saves, that's the second most in baseball. And he hasn't pitched in a month. So the bad memories outweigh the good ones. As for Yates, it just feels like he always has traffic. Walks, hits, it's always something with him. Plus, both of Yates and Scott have already given up more home runs this year than last year when they were all-stars. And they haven't even pitched close to the same workload that they did in 2024. These are supposed to be the back-end bullpen guys. And instead, others have had to step up in their place. For the Dodgers' sake, hopefully they're healthy and saving their best stuff for crunch time, for September, for October, because this division race and a run at back-to-back titles is no joke, and you're going to need as many arms, quality arms, high-leverage arms available in the bullpen. And like I said, a lot of us Dodgers fans, we got bad memories of Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates blowing games, but hopefully, for our sake, for the team's sake, they come back better than ever. And it's not just the bullpen help on the way. The Dodgers, they've been missing depth, stability, and experienced bats in the lineup and in the bench. The team, they have Kike Hernandez, Ha-Seong Kim, and Max Muncy closer to returning, and that's massive for them. Let's start off with Kike. He's raking with OKC. 2 for 3 in each of the last 2 nights. 3 RBIs combined. Even a stolen base. He's looking sharp. He's looking good. And next week feels like the return date. So keep an eye and keep that series against the Reds circled because we might get Kike Hernandez back. And that's big for this club because we know that October Kike always delivers during the postseason. But you want to have him with the big league club for at least a month and change before those big games roll around. Then you got Ha-Seong Kim. It's an interesting move right here because he started his rehab assignment last night, and he did it as the starting left fielder for the OKC Comets. This was his first time playing the position. And if the Dodgers are looking for a left-handed hitter to platoon in their starting lineup with the big league team, then guess what? Maybe, just maybe, it's bye for Michael Conforto. Because you look at Kim, he has speed. He has a defense. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored. He's a way more versatile player, and I love his speed where he gets contact. If it's weak contact, you know he's going to make it to first base. If he bunts that ball and it's a good bunch, you know he's going to get to first base. If he's on the base paths, there's a very high possibility that he steals second, that he steals third, that he's able to get home when there's 1 out on the count or no outs. And there's contact. It doesn't matter if it gets to the shortstop, to the first baseman. With his speed, I would go with Kim getting home. Michael Conforto, you don't have that. Michael Conforto, as a pinch hitter, zero trust in him. Kim, with his speed alone, I feel better having him up there compared to Michael Conforto. Conforto, he's a left fielder, period. Ha-Seong Kim, you could put him either at second base, at shortstop, center field, and now they're trying him out at left field. I feel that this is just the beginning of the end for Michael Conforto, an end that I feel is a month too late, but that's a story for another day, and we will see if that ends up happening sooner rather than later. And last but not least, Max Muncy, the starting third baseman for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts says that he's swinging off of a tee, that he doesn't have discomfort in his oblique, and that's progress, but that's huge for this ball club. And it sounds like him, Tommy Edman, they're more looking towards September instead of late August, but I'd rather have them than not. And there was a possibility that we wouldn't see Muncy the rest of the year when he got hurt again and it was an oblique situation. Fortunately, that's not the case. And when Max Muncy is in that lineup, the Dodgers are a completely different team. We've said it before here, Travis Rogers and myself on Locked On Dodgers. He's the guy that connects the top of the lineup with the bottom of the lineup. He's the guy that can be out there and have a long at bat and make that pitcher from the other team stress it out, have his pitch count go high, and most of those times with those long at-bats, it ends up with a walk for Max Muncy. So even at times, whenever he doesn't have a high batting average, you know that his on-base percentage is high because he loves taking walks. And when he's actually hitting the ball, when he's making contact with the ball, it's usually loud. And he's usually going yard, and that's something that this Dodgers team definitely needs to have back in that lineup with Max Muncy. And look, at first, when he got hurt, when he got hit with that helmet from Michael A. Taylor from the Chicago White Sox on July 2nd, I even have that date stapled in my mind. I can't forget it. I thought our season was over with Max Muncy. I thought we would never see him again. He was back in a month. He was back with the Dodgers early August. And that's the kind of guy that he is. It was supposed to be a month and a half, and he was back with the team in a month. Now he's injured again. It's an oblique injury that last season he had a similar situation. Max Muncy, okay, progress is being made in his situation. Let's hope we have him back because to win the World Series, I don't think we can do it without Max Muncy. I can't just trust this team without Muncy to go the whole way. He might not be the highest profile third baseman offensively or defensively in baseball. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. He's not the highest profile third baseman either with batting or with defense, but he is the perfect guy for the position for the Dodgers. And this is his last year with his current contract. He does have a team option for 2026, which I'm pretty sure the Dodgers are going to want to pick up despite the injuries. But man, we need him right here, right now for 2025. And this is where the Dodgers' depth matters. They've survived to this point with a patchwork roster, but getting proven big league talent back in the mix over the next couple of weeks could be the turning point. Keep an eye on those updates out of OKC because the cavalry is coming. Even Michael Kopech, he's eligible to return next week, and he's been playing over with OKC. There's some control issues. He hasn't been the Michael Kopech that we remember from last season when the Dodgers traded for him. But at the same time, who would you rather have? Matt Sauer or Michael Kopech? Alexis Diaz or Michael Kopech? Edgardo Henriquez, he's been an interesting arm. He's a guy that's young, that he has the velocity, that he can just throw fire. He's a guy that I'm interested in. And in one of our episodes next week, I'm going to dive into which are the 13 arms that the Dodgers should take to the postseason. So stay tuned all of next week and every single day. We love all our everydayers. You'll be able to listen to that content here on Locked On Dodgers. And coming up on Locked On Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani is cleared. The Padres, they're waiting, and the Dodgers are staring at one of their biggest tests of the remainder of the regular season. Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every single game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. Like Nick, who in yesterday's YouTube comments, he said the following, and I quote, "To say Doc isn't the problem with this team is insane. He is putting on a masterclass on how to make sure our players and team never gain any momentum. Prime example, our leadoff hitter leads the team in strikeouts. As fans, we need to be loud about this stuff. Fire Doc today, or we'll not win a World Series again with the talent that we have." End quote. Okay, let's start with something. I said yesterday that someone misunderstood. I said the Dodgers should fire Dave Roberts if they don't make the postseason this year. And there's a very low chance of that happening. Firing him right now, that's Nick's take, not mine. Firing him on August 22nd, yeah, that ain't happening. And on Shohei hitting leadoff, look, only one Dodger has a higher on-base percentage than Show, and it's Will Smith. And it's not by much. Yeah, the strikeouts are frustrating, 151 of them. But he also leads the team in homers with 44, and nobody else on this roster has half of that. He's also first in runs, hits, triples, RBI, stolen bases, and walks. So to say Shohei's a wrong call at leadoff, I don't agree with that. Especially remember how Mookie Betts was struggling over the last 2 months before early August? Is that the guy you wanted at leadoff? It would have made it worse for the Dodgers. But well, now, speaking of Shohei, we all saw the scare on Wednesday. A line drive off of his right leg. It just missed his knee. His leg stiffened up and it was swelling, and there were questions about whether he'd be good to go or not. He said he would, but he said that on Wednesday night. You still had to wait for Thursday, and Dave Roberts even said that he told him to sleep in, don't get to the ballpark early, you're getting the day off, so you're cool. And fortunately, Doc said that he's fine, and he'll be in the lineup against the Padres this weekend. But that's something that I always say. With injuries, you might say one thing one day, but then the next day, it changes to something different. So we got to wait for it to progress and for everything to the swelling to come down. Check, you're okay. All right, then keep on playing. And having Shohei is huge Not only do the Dodgers need his production, but this matchup against the Padres is massive. San Diego is just one game back in the division, and you want to avoid the wild card at all costs. In October, you'd rather need 11 wins to win the Commissioner's Trophy than 13. And you definitely don't want to end up in a best-of-3 wildcard series where anything can happen. These head-to-head games matter a ton. The Dodgers already won the series overall this season. The Padres could sweep the Dodgers this weekend, and the Dodgers already won the season series. The thing is, you want to be in a position where you're not sweating it late in September or in the middle of September to fight for that division lead. So these games are key. If you're able to get a 4-game lead against them in the NL West, then that means that the Padres, they don't need to get 4 more wins than the Dodgers the rest of the way. They would need to get 5 more wins, because if they end up tied in the division by the end of the season, the Dodgers own the tiebreaker. So these games, they matter a ton. Shohei at the plate, he always changes the tone. Either he does damage with his bat or pitchers work around him. This weekend could look a lot like last weekend. Another chance for the Dodgers to make a statement. The big question is, can the lineup respond after looking so sluggish in Colorado? And look, at least I can say we were asking this same question last week after the Dodgers were swept by the Angels, and the Dodgers delivered. Now, will they be able to do that again? Yes, they won 2 out of 4 against the Rockies, but to be honest, it feels like a series loss against a team that you should have won the series. And if you had done that, you would still have a 2-game lead or a 3-game lead in the NL West. That's not the case. Now that lead is back to only 1 game. On the Padres side, Xander Bogaerts, he's hitting 167 since August 11th. Luis Arraez, he had 3 hits in the finale against the Dodgers, but that's his only multi-hit game in his last 9. Manny Machado batting 200 since August 6th. And Fernando Tatis Jr., who's usually a Dodger hitter, hasn't homered since July 24th. Despite this, Tatis has been a solid overall player. And San Diego, they're getting big help from the bottom of the lineup with guys like Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn, Freddie Fermin. All these 3 they traded for before the deadline. And they also have other players in the bottom of the lineup who are producing. And that's the thing. You want the team from 1 to 9 to be able to deliver. That way, in case 1, 2, 3 aren't doing their job, you got other players to pick up the slack. Or if the guys at the bottom aren't producing, the top of the lineup is doing so. That way you have a balance. You don't just depend on Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts doing their job. But if you got the bottom of the lineup, Alex Call, in my opinion, he earned himself the opportunity to play. Even if it's not a platoon situation, leave him out there at left field. He's a great defender. Leave him out there. Let him play. Let him go up at bat. It's Colorado. I know. That stadium helped out a lot of players. But in late June, it helped out Michael Conforto. And in July, he had his best month, or his only good month, in 2025. Maybe that's what Alex Call needed. Playing in Colorado, elevating his confidence, being in a better position. And let's see what happens, because it's Dodgers Padres. LA is clinging on to a 1-game lead in the West. This is a must-watch as late August as it gets. And let's see what the Dodgers end up producing with this, either with Call, with Conforto, with whoever's in the lineup. The Dodgers need to have a good series. And look, for the Padres, this is massive. This is huge. This is their last chance having the Dodgers in the regular season at Petco Park. So you know that despite Dodgers fans usually invading that stadium, the Padres are going to try to have as much home field advantage because they need it. They're passionate about their team. Not as passionate as we are, but they're very passionate about their team. Let's see if they're able to make a difference or not. They're going to be loud. They're going to be proud. They're going to be chanting, beat LA instead of go San Diego. But that's what you do when you want your opponent to lose more than you want your team to win. Now, let's be clear. The Dodgers, they stabilized on Thursday. They got contributions across the lineup and at least showed some urgency before heading to San Diego. But make no mistake, there are red flags there. playing 500 against the Rockies is not the standard, and it got me a little bit worried to see what ends up happening. And look, somebody on our Locked On Dodgers Instagram said, Dodger fans are spoiled and annoying for complaining about losing twice to Colorado because the team is playing great baseball. Literally, that's what a commenter said. The Dodgers are playing great baseball. Really? 15-16 since the All-Star break. 17-23 since July 4th. That's not great baseball. I get it. There have been injuries. They've overperformed without Glasnow, Snell, and Sasaki in the rotation. But there's a difference between they've done better than expected under the circumstances and they're playing great baseball. There's a huge difference. And maybe it's a motivation thing. When the opponent's not good, maybe they're not putting it all on the line. But here's the deal. It's been 5 months since opening day. And hopefully we've still got 2+ months left of watching this team. It's a grind, and they've made it harder on themselves over the last 6 weeks. But just like after the sweep in Anaheim, here's another golden opportunity against the hungry Padres team. For the Dodgers, they're able now to reintroduce themselves to baseball and remind everyone who they are. All the spotlight is going to be in the 619 at Petco Park in San Diego, and the Dodgers, they have an opportunity to shine under it and say, we're back. We're here. Let's go take care of business against the Padres and then take care of business against the Reds, 2 teams that need to win. If you're able to win against teams that need to win, that's pretty much like a playoff series. That's pretty much like if you're in October baseball and the Dodgers have a prime opportunity to get wins, to win series and separate themselves from the pack, or not the pack, from the Padres in the NL West. Well, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And also catch Pete Fox after every Dodger game on our YouTube channel with his live postcast. I'll be back on Monday to talk everything about this weekend series against the Padres. Hopefully, just like last week, I get to talk about a sweep by the Dodgers. I appreciate you riding with me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.